So before we begin, I just want us to all take a breath so we can clear the space so that we can really be guided to not only listen, but to receive, more importantly, whatever is being offered to you today, yes? And before we do that, I just want to ask you if you can shut your phone off. This is your time, or put it on vibrate, because you want to be selfish today, yes? You don't want any distractions. This is your time to receive, and we should be selfish in receiving, right? So let's take a moment just to close our eyes. We want to clear the space. And we do that by just shutting our eyes. Our eyes, believe it or not, are such a beautiful sense of the physicality, one of our senses, but it also could be a distraction. We have within ourselves what's called the single eye, the third eye, and when we close our eyes, we actually invite that inner eye, which is the spiritual eye, to be the one who's present. And that eye belongs to your spirit, to your soul, and it's part of your divine state. It's part of your intuitive state. It's part of your holy state, yes? And so just taking a moment, and then from that place, when we incorporate the breath, we're really taking it a step further into stepping into our spiritual wholeness, right? The inhalation of the breath is your recognition that you are something more than just this body, that you are a life force energy. And then the exhale comes from that inhalation of your essence and pushes out anything that you're holding, any debris, part of the physicality that keeps you in a heavy place, in a stressful place, in a worried place, in a fearful place, in a disconnected place, right? And so when we bring all of this together, which we're going to do in a moment, you are actually what I call plugging in. You are plugging in into your true essence. You are plugging in into this unseen vibration that truly is who you are, right? And from that place, if you do nothing else and you practice this, there is a promise that you will ultimately connect to your true essence, which is your divine soul. Because when we allow ourselves to step out of the body, of the physicality, and to plug in into that source, you begin to have a direct experience with who you truly are. And it's like taking the red pill. There is no choice. You have to, you evolve, yes? So let's take a moment, take a beautiful inhale of breath. You do that through the nostrils. And then you exhale from the belly. Allowing that breath to be a release. Having a deliberate intent and a deliberate wisdom in knowing exactly what you are doing. You are taking an inhale of breath because you are plugging in into the universal God force. And when you take your exhale, you are allowing the inhalation of life force to purify you, to release you, to cleanse you, to open you to all unlimited divine possibilities. Inhale. And exhale. Allowing yourself to become an empty vessel. For when you become an empty vessel, you are actually allowing the universal God force to enter, to again, to just light you up like a tree, to purify you, to place you in alignment, balance with who you truly are. And at the same time, to release all of that other stuff that really doesn't define you, right? really is not who you are. Letting it go, listening to my voice, and making a commitment that during our time together, you're going to ingest what is for the highest good of your soul today, that you are going to allow this to assimilate, to anchor into every layer of who you are if it resonates, and that you're not going to allow any distractions to come in. We call upon all the great guards, all the celestial beings, all the angels, the guards of the four directions, and the ancestors and the elders to create a beautiful circle of healing, of protection and light around this group, this tribe, around this building, this city, the state, the country, and the world. Many blessings to you. Allow yourself to gently come back, knowing that you are in another state of reception, of receptivity, right? And I want to start by thanking you all for being here. You're not here by mistake. So celebrate yourselves for being present today and knowing that you were here for a reason. I am so really grateful to be here in Staten Island again, one of the beautiful portals that I've been a part of for almost 3 decades. And I want to start off by sharing a story that's going to lead us into the rest of what this workshop is about. I started to speak briefly about the fact that I wrote a book 1.5 years ago that was a catalyst for what, the messenger all at once for what is occurring. And we're not going to spend too much time talking about what's occurring because that's a waste of time. We're going to talk about what we're being asked to benefit from what we've experienced and what this timeline in the moment of now is, and the beautiful gifts that it has here to offer you, right? But in order to get there, we have to take a step back and say, so what is happening? And 1.5 years ago, I was asked to write this book, which was highlighting many of the things have taken fruition. Now, we can go back and forth about what's happening, and we can get into the politics of it, we can get into the injustice of it, we can get into the confusion of it, but in one word, this is an ascension. And I'm going to trust that at some level, you're all going to understand what I mean by that. We are in an ascension process. As a matter of fact, we're not really in an ascension process. The earth itself already ascended. And it is the humans in the earth that are actually being given the opportunity to ascend into the new paradigm. So I'm going to use those terms just so that we can have this dialogue. Old paradigm means the old world. The new paradigm is the new vibrational place in which the earth finds itself, okay? For some individuals who are still learning the lingo of spirituality, right? They have this perception that, oh, the new world, so something is going to pop up. You know, we're going to wake up and all of a sudden everything's going to look different outside the window. Or, you know, all of these other visions of what is that? Like, almost like if it's something tangible, right? Like the way we pick something up. And the truth is that the new world is not something tangible, although it can be experienced in a physical way. the new world is an energetic state. It's a vibration. One of the examples that I love to use that kind of brings it home right away is we have a 110 amp and a 220, right? And hopefully we all know, right, that we can't always run every appliance on a 110, right? That 220 is for those high-tech appliances that need that voltage. And if we try to plug it into a 110, it's gonna short out, right? We can look at that analogy immediately and see the old paradigm is 110 and the new paradigm is 220. It carries a higher voltage, right? And we are that appliance. But really, do you want to be that appliance or not? You know what I mean? You can stay old and be comfortable in the 110, or you can plug in into this higher vibrational state, right? I say you could, but the truth of the matter is that we really don't have a choice. And the reason why I say that is because the earth herself has moved into that new vibrational state. And because it has, the old paradigm has begun to collapse. As a matter of fact, today is a very symbolic day of the completion of that collapse. And when I decided to come back here to Staten Island, there was only one thing that was leading me in the calendar. It was my son's birthday, which was March 23rd. But so I sort of squeezed everything in without really looking at the dates. And I was told by the consul, like, you need to look at the dates. And today is Palm Sunday. And, you know, we embrace all religions and spirituality. We may not need to practice any, or maybe we do, but we honor all beliefs. And it is not a coincidence that today is Palm Sunday, because the greater definition of Palm Sunday is victory. Victory over the fact that Christ, who was a great guru, entered into Jerusalem, into the land. It was his victory that he was able to enter into the Holy Land. And it is not a mistake that we are having this workshop today, this holy workshop, because we too are being given the opportunity to enter into the new land today. Yes? And that is the greatest gift that you're being offered today. Now, the hows of how we entered into that, right, into that new land is what we're going to discuss, right? So we are in a new paradigm. And check it out, when the earth ascended into this new vibrational state, that was her navigation, her pathway. And whether the children of the earth, us, decide to follow that or not is up to us. But we need to understand that in order to be in alignment with the higher vibration, we need to change our frequency. We cannot go and enter into that state because the earth is not going to lower its vibration, her vibration. We now need to raise it in order to experience the new earth. I go back to what I said. People think that it's something that we're going to tangibly see. No, it is something that you're going to experience, right? It is something that you're going to experience. And how you know that you're experiencing it is the quality of your life and the quality of your life experiences. That's how you're going to know that you've shifted and allowing yourself now to go into the new earth. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm going to give you an example, and it's going to be my own life. I wrote this book 1.5 years ago, and August of last year, I was jolted with the realization that that my marriage was coming to an end, and I really was not prepared for that. But alongside with that, this shift and everything that I was presented with was pushing me to move out to Florida. And at the time, I was like, I don't understand. I have no connection, no desire, no anything. I was looking for a home in Pennsylvania, and the earth, the universe, and everything in between kept putting these undeniable signs that I had to go out to Florida. And so I did, and I left behind everything that was dear to me, my practice, my students, everything that was familiar, my son, and my marriage, my home. And it was, in a nutshell, a death. A death. But in order to experience the newness that was in my peripheral, that was in front of me, I had to experience that death, you know? And it took a lot of courage for me to make that shift. And so one of the reasons why I'm sharing it, besides just offering you the example, that I'm not just sitting here talking to you about what what you should expect without experiencing it myself, is that it's not an easy transition. And I go back to what I was saying in the beginning before we started the workshop, that we're creatures of habit. We're creatures of habit. And we're creatures of habit because it works for us. You know what I mean? The routines don't make things uncomfortable for me. I like that I get up and I do this and that, and and we believe, and to some degree the paradox is that it is true, that routines often give us a sense of comfortability. But you need to ask yourself if that sense of comfortability is limiting you. Has it limited you? And the answer is yes. Because hidden in our comfortability is a fear of growth, of taking chances, of taking risks, of being bold to explore, having the courage to explore something new, right? And if and it sounds like so corny, but how can you expect to experience something new if nothing changes? Nothing will ever change. If you are doing journal entries and doing prayers and meditations and doing your, garden desire list, and I'm talking to the students who are here, right? All these exercises, right? But you do not allow yourself to execute, then nothing's going to change. Do you hear that? It is not only about the seed, but then the execution of it, having the courage to follow it through, and allowing yourself to be guided. And that guidance has to come from that inner place, not from the outer place, which is why I started the meditation and saying, let's go inward in that single eye, not your physical eyes, because your physical eyes are going to betray you. They're going to show you the illusion of things that are going to scare you, of things that are not going to go right, of things that you're going to second guess, right? And to some degree, it is our lower self trying to protect us because it thinks it needs to. But the truth is that it's limiting us from taking a bold leap into the unknown, into faith, into trust, right? And if we align ourselves with that higher energy, or plug in, then we're going to be guided to where we have to go. And we cannot trust that unless we have built a relationship. right? So once again, we go back to the very fundamental. Are you plugging in? Are you having a connection with the God force? Are you, and can you understand why, right? I just explained why. Because if you are not plugged in, not only are you not going to be carrying that vibration, hell, you're not going to trust. You're not going to have faith. And the reason why is because you don't have faith in yourself. And you're only plugging into yourself, to the lower consciousness of the fears and the conditioning and all that other stuff that exists in the limited space of the old world. Make sense? Right? And so, okay, so what about if all of this is true, which it is? What do we do? Right? And I've started to share, right? You have to plug in. You have to make a commitment. You have to step out of your physical self and step into that space of connecting. This is kind of old, this is not kind of new, and this workshop was set up to be called Power Up into the New Paradigm. And I am here to tell you that the new paradigm exists. I am not telling you that the new paradigm exists because it is a philosophy, because it's what the Mayans told us, which they did. I am telling you that the new paradigm is here because I live in it. And I am experiencing it. And of course, I so joyfully want to be a messenger, right, of that a deliverer of that message, that the new paradigm does exist. In a very short period of time, I went from being completely distraught and broken and lost to being very joyfully fulfilled, happy, content, just experiencing just a completely different world that I only envisioned in my deepest, thoughts of myself or desires. And it all happened very flawlessly and very effortlessly. And when I arrived at Florida, of course, I realized that the calling was so much bigger, which is the other part of this workshop, is there was a civilization, so this may be above your heads a little bit. Trust that your higher self is going to is going to understand and assimilate what I'm saying, sharing. There was a civilization many eons ago that was called Atlantis. And that civilization in many ways has become, like many other things, spiritual, mythical. Oh, it's a mythical story. Merlin, the mermaids, the elementals, fairies, that's all make-believe. No, it's not. We have no conception or idea of what we truly are. And we don't know because we forgot. And we were supposed to forget because we were supposed to have this experience. And the experiences were supposed to bring us back into the awareness. You get? So it's a very big paradox. But there was indeed a civilization that existed that was known as Atlantis. And I want you to hear me very closely, okay? That civilization was very advanced, very developed. They knew exactly who they were. They were high-dimensional beings. They had abilities, superpowers, if you may. If we look at it from the human place, they were superpowers. And they had a great agenda to be an example for the rest of the civilizations that exist in the cosmic space. And through a series of circumstances that we don't have the time to discuss right now, they were infiltrated. And that infiltration eventually led to their destruction. But what they represented was so crucial for the galactic growth of the galactic existence that we were created. The human species was created. And very strategically, the plan was that we would go through this process of ascension and get to this point of where we find ourselves to be the new Atlantis civilization. In other words, we took over what they were supposed to complete. And we are doing that, you know? And so some of you who are watching the YouTube videos and why I'm doing Atlantis activations and why I'm sitting in front of a fish tank, for those who are seeing it. And of course, I am going to do an activation of tuning forks today, which is part of your activation today, is because part of the new paradigm, and again, just listen, you don't need to understand. A lot of this is not going to make sense. You know, like, what is she talking about? But the new world of which the Earth ascended to is part of the Atlantis. And we are the new Atlantis. And our call is to finish what they didn't complete. The correlation, and again, I'm not going to get into the politics of it, is that we have been infiltrated here on Earth, right? And it's okay that we've been infiltrated, because that infiltration, it's almost like the timelines have to repeat themselves and get to an apex point where they mirror each other. And I want the Unity Tribe to hold a big space right now, where they have to mirror each other in order for one to then take over. Yes? And so I will say that again. We have been infiltrated, but we have surpassed that infiltration. And the ascension not only took place, but now the ascension process is taking place as well. Yes? And so this is why what you need to take from that is, do not get sidetracked in what's happening in the old paradigm. Oh, but this, but that, they're trying to control us, and look what they're doing, and blah, the politics, blah. That is a very big distraction, beloveds. And it is a very strategic plan to try to distract you. It all has to happen in order for the exposure and for it to open the eyes, to bring humanity into a realization that they've been under the control of a matrix. And you accomplish nothing by saying, oh, but we were infiltrated and we were in the matrix, right? You accomplish by saying, how do I get out of it? Yes? How do you get out of it? And that is why we're here today, right? Because as long as you place your attention on that, you yourself will suffer for fragmentation. And we're at a point right now where that fragmentation can be very debilitating, because this paradigm is collapsing. Imagine yourself standing on a piece of iceberg where it's melting, and the piece gets smaller and smaller and smaller, where you can't even hold your equilibrium anymore, right? That is what the old paradigm is. There is nothing supporting it, right? There is nothing. What's supporting it is fear, separation, low vibration. And we all know where that leads us, don't we? We don't have to spend too much time in discussing that, right? Where do you want to place your feet at? Where do you want to experience the rest of your life? And that should be in the new paradigm, right? And again, It is here. My message to you today is that it's already available. And you need to be willing to raise your vibration in order to not only tap into it, but to have the experience. Follow? Have the experience. I want to share something with you, beloveds, because it's so important as well. You know, when we're on a spiritual journey, in our zest to get to that, to have, to get somewhere, right? We can sometimes become overly ambitious where, oh, what do I have to do? What more do I have to do? Like, I want to take 10 courses and I want to, buy 100 crystals. And I'm not mocking any of that because all of that is wonderful. But the paradox, and there's many paradoxes in the journey of spirituality, is, are you allowing yourself to be present in the experience? And what does that mean? Well, let's take a simple example. When you sit down to eat, do you taste your food? What does it taste like? Is it hot? Is it warm? Is it lukewarm? Is it cold? Is it chewy? Does it taste good? Does it have too much pepper? What does it taste like? And when we look at the simple exercise of eating food, we can see what an experience is. Either you're having it or not, right? Do you realize that at the end of the day, no matter what we talk about, Ascension, Atlantis, spirituality, that if you're not having an experience or allowing yourself to taste and savor the experience, you're not living? I don't care what you're doing, how much spirituality you've gotten. Because at the end of the day, this whole experience is about the experience. You know what I mean? Being present in the experience. Because no matter how much you grow, all that is going to really matter is the measure and the quality of the experiences that you had. Because that is going to determine your evolution, how much you grew, right? So what I'm saying is, are you running after the quest, or are you living the quest? Or are you living it, right? And if you're not living it, then you should take a pause and ask yourself why, and ask for guidance in taking another direction. Because this is not about running through the quest. It's about having the journey, right? It's not the journey, not the destination is the journey, right? It's so very true. What is that talking about? That's talking about the experience. And so if you take a moment and you measure your life now, and again, there's never a judgment, I'm just saying, where are you in that journey? If you took a moment right now to ask yourselves, where are you? If you can taste where you are right now, where your life is right now, where are you? Are you in the old paradigm? Are you in the new paradigm? Are you even tasting it? Are you tasting life? Are you tasting the experience? And if you're not, why? Right? Why? Don't make excuses. This is not about excuses anymore. We keep blaming everything around us, right? The people, places, and things, our obligations, our jobs, our relationships. Make a choice. Make choices. Make choices. Have the courage for your own fulfillment, because you deserve to be in the experience of fulfillment, to make these choices. And there is an amazing promise that's coming from the new paradigm. And again, I am a testament to it, is that once we commit ourselves to being there, everything that you need is going to be given to you. Because the truth of the matter is that everything that you need, that we need, is already present. What keeps what we need in the illusion of not being available is our own limitation. Did you hear that? It is our own limitation of belief and of worth that keeps us away from what we desire. If you have a desire, that means it's already in existence. It exists already. Because you're all creators. And so the birthing of a desire means that it already exists, the potential for it. And now all you need to do is have the realization so that you can draw it to you. It sounds very scientific. It's all energy. It's all energy, right? We are in a place right now where we can instantly manifest if we are in the higher vibration, right? If we're not in the higher vibration, then we're going to be struggling. We're going to be question that. We're going to it's going to seem very contradicting. And remember what I said. It doesn't matter anymore that you're praying, that you're putting out the SOSs and saying, like, I really desire this. Do you really? Do you really? Show you. Show you. Don't wishful think into this, because you're not going to succeed, because that's not the energy that is necessary to tap into the manifestation. You know what I mean? We're talking about declaration here, okay? We need to put on our pants and our panties and start declaring as the deities, as the essences that we are. Either you believe that you're a creator or you don't at this point, right? And if you're wishy-washy, then you're going to get wishy-washy results. And at this point of the game, you may get worse than wishy-washy. Because, again, if we're still in that old paradigm, then we are really vibrating from a very fragmented state, that's being carried on a 110 volt by very fearful, disempowered little ones. Is that where you want to vibrate from? Is that where you want to create from? No. Right? Right? And so, again, a lot of this is, can be very like, what is she talking about? And, oh my God, I'm very overwhelmed right now. Like, how do I get there? And, what do I do? And willingness. Are you willing? Are you willing? It's all that really is necessary. Are you willing? And can you allow yourself to go inward and recognize that there is this higher state? And can you allow yourself to feel worthy enough to allow yourself to transition into that place and let go and make choices that are going to allow you to do that? And trusting that in doing and making those choices, you're going to then, reap the benefits of that new vibration. And again, I will keep saying, everything that you need will be provided for you in that new space, and then some, and then some. Yes, but we need to go through the transition. Yes. I'm going to stop for a moment just to allow any questions, and of course, please be mindful of the time. Just a question. Do you have a question about what I'm sharing? Yes.
So the old paradigm is what's going on right now in the outside world with this chaos and this whole. Unfortunately, they're talking this whole race thing and everything. We're all going crazy. That's the old paradigm. They're living in pain. Is that what you're saying?
And so there is not a microphone on the floor, so I'm just going to repeat that. Linda is asking if the people, the racism and all this that's going on, are these people, acting from the old paradigm? And the answer is yes. It's fear, it's separation, it is a lot of things. If we are not vibrating from a place of unity, of cooperation, of harmony, and of love, then we are in the old paradigm. And keep in mind, of course, that this is not something that you snap your fingers and you'll find yourself there. Although I will never limit the divine or any of you, but what I mean by that is that you can very well take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You know what I mean? And that's okay. We're not looking here for like overnight transformation. So if you find yourself experiencing some kind of apprehension, some kind of, fear or resistance, it's okay, as long as you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You know what I mean? And ever so more going 2 steps forward, 3 steps forward, and 1 step back. I'm not here to say that we're not going to ever experience fear or that we're not going to have moments. Will never say that, because we are still having a human experience. But that human experience is becoming less and less, because we are really celestial beings. And the more we are in that vibration, the less attachments we're going to have to the illusion that fear exists, that things don't work out, that, everything has to be a struggle. That's all very 3D paradigm, like the matrix that makes us think that we have to struggle through everything, that we have to suffer. It's all a limited space that just prevented us from growing. And we're not going to look back and say, oh, they did it, or who did it, or it happened. It was part of the plan. But now there's a new plan. And if we don't realize that by now, beloveds, if we don't realize that by now, do we really think that this is only about a pandemic? Or do we really think that this is only about politics? It is absolutely not. This is an ascension process, yes? This is the breakdown of an old paradigm and the buildup of a new one. And again, it has to occur, it did have to occur, it will continue to occur, because there are masses of little ones that are vibrating in that place of not being willing, of pointing the finger, of blaming, of not recognizing, of justification. This is all separation, right? And we need to be mindful. You here, sitting here, what are you doing? Are you being part of that, or are you being a part of the new paradigm? We may very well have the desire to grow and expand into the new paradigm, but are we gossiping? Are we pointing the finger at the politics? And are we having low toxic conversations about, look what they're doing to us, those fuckers, and, Does it make you feel better? Maybe. Is it taking you to a low vibration? Yes. Do you think that you can switch yourself in and out? You're going to neutralize yourself at best, So take responsibility for your thoughts and your actions. Where are you vibrating from? And again, this is not, I told the students all the time, if you have 1 foot here and 1 foot here, at very best, you're going to fall on your ass. Because you're not going to have balance, right? So the goal is to work towards having your feet firmly grounded, both feet, into a foundation. And when you are anchored that way, then you ensure yourself that you're not going to fall flat on your face, right? So again, this is about you calling yourself out. At the end of the day, we can't lie to ourselves. We can put on a facade for someone else or for others and say like, oh yeah, I'm meditating, and then, I have good intentions, and, but if you're having like these toxic thoughts, like, in your consciousness, then you are ingesting that into your soul. And you're vibrating that energy out, which means the universe is only going to respond with what you're feeding it, right? And so this is spirituality 101. You know, we are experiencing what we're vibrating. And that's the whole idea with this, is where we're vibrating from. Are we allowing ourselves to shift? And that shift is going to create new experiences because you are now becoming a new vibration. Or are you going to be here? And slowly but surely, just the fragmentation of everything around you and you, because you are in a low vibrational space, right? So, a lot, right? You know, a lot to absorb, right? But we're not done yet because we're going to need to take this to an apex. And that apex is, and again, this is not about religion, you know, or, you know, it isn't. But there's a lot of truth that was left behind many of the teachings. I would say all the teachings, yes? Hinduism, Judaism, God bless, they celebrated Passover yesterday, right? Egyptians, the mystery teachings, right? Christ, Sumerians, we could go back and back, you know, to as far as we can. And there's one thing that's very prevalent. If we look at Mayan teachings, you know, we know that there were prophecies left speaking about this very time that we're living in, very specifically, you know, the Mayan calendar, the Hopi prophecies, talking about this very timeline. And of course, we have to go to the crisis time. Why? Because Christ was an amazing guru who taught that we needed to go inward. You know, a lot of Christ's teachings were parables that needed to be dissected, that couldn't be understood unless you were open to understand the deeper meaning of what those parables were. But what really comes into play as we're talking about the Ascension is that there was a great hope left that there would be a second coming. And that second coming was always depicted as being Christ itself. You know, the skies are gonna open up and Christ is gonna show up, you know. And I love Christ, by the way. He is one of my greatest teachers. I never had any physical teachers. All my teachers were cosmic. And he truly changed my life. So I'm embracing that, not mocking him, but, you know, so what is this? And, you know, God bless, even to this day, there are many who believe that we're in an apocalypse, you know, between evil and good, and somebody has to come and save us, you know. Well, the second coming was you. The second coming was the ascension process. And more specifically, the second coming is the arrival of the feminine Christ. And why I say feminine is because this whole experience has been very masculine in the controlling and the domination and the separation, right? And that's all very masculine. And I'm not talking only about gender here. I'm talking about energies, the masculine, right? And so in order to bring this full circle and bring it back to balance, it is the feminine energy that's in the forefront, the Sophia Lily, you know, the lineage of the Christ, but also the energy, which means that we're being called to be vulnerable, to be from the heart, to be, you know, compassionate, to be nurturing, right? That's the feminine side. And we need to explore and be open to that as well, because again, from a conditioning point, we've been conditioned, programmed to believe that we need to be aggressive, that we need to be defensive, that we need to be masculine, you know, and tough, rough, you know. in order to survive. Well, stop surviving. We didn't come here to survive. We came here to thrive. We came here to declare ourselves. We came here to be an expression of our divinity. We came here to be an example, right? And none of those adjectives talk about struggle. They're about beauty, and that comes from the feminine side, right? And so for the masculine genders who are here, please listen to that, because in general, I want the whole audience and the viewers who are going to watch this, we're not talking about genders, but there is a part of the gender masculine who feels like, what does that feel like? What are they asking me to do? To allow yourselves to be vulnerable, to know that you don't lose your empowerment by being in touch with your feminine side, right? That the most beautiful thing that you can do is to be in touch with your feminine side and be nurturing, open, vulnerable, you know. And for the feminists, because you know, don't get off the hook, is that you don't have to be walking around with a whip or a sword, you know, to prove your strength. Put your whips and your swords down and come from the heart, right? And the heart really means for the feminine, because I hear it all the time. One of you brought up one of the books I wrote, right? Female Divine Hurt No More. Oh, but we've been injured, we've been punctured, we've been this, right? We've been that. Nothing happens to us that we didn't give permission to. Nothing happens to us that we didn't give permission to, okay? And that's a rough pill to swallow. But we are souls. And if we have been through some trauma and, you know, infractions in our lives, is because on a soul level, we knew that we needed to have those experiences with the opportunity to grow, to expand, to make choices, right? And again, it's a very radical statement to make. But why I'm saying it more specifically is because the female gender want to be victimized, that they did, this one did that one to who you, and you know. Well, we gave permission, and we do give permission to it by many of the things that we tolerate and that we accept, right? So when I say come from the heart is loving yourself more to say no. Loving yourself more to say, I'm worth more. You know, and we don't need to do that in an aggressive way, you see. It comes from a place of love, that I need to love myself more to say no, right? And on a soul level, like I said again, because that's a whole different subject, we did agree to everything that we experienced. That's why would a soul agree to go through these experiences where the soul knew who it was? You don't, because you forgot. But the soul knew who it was. And so it said, give it all to me. I know I'm going to remember, and if I don't remember, I'm going to suffer a lot, and the suffering is going to hopefully remind me, right? And if that doesn't work, then I'll come back and do it all over again. This is what the soul says, right? Because it knows that it is going to triumph eventually, right? Questions? Any comments? No? Is this making some sense to you? Yes. So, I am going to bring the attention back to Florida. And again, it's not because I'm in Florida, it is because I was taken to Florida, right? So, something incredible exists in Florida. It does not only exist in Florida, it exists in many parts of the world. But Atlantis was a civilization, and they had many portals around the world. And what I mean by portals, so that you can understand more, think of headquarters that they had around the world. And one of those headquarters, actually the primary headquarters, believe it or not, is under the waters of Belize, the Bahamas, and Florida. And so unbeknownst to me, when I was called to go out to Florida, it was to do Atlantic work and to help rise the energies that are there. And why? Because again, those energies are going to help support the ascension and really reflect back to you because you are part of the new Atlantis rise. So one of the things that I've been doing there is working with the waters, with the element. It's incredible what I've witnessed. When I step into the waters, fish come out of the water like 12 inches to greet me. I am greeted with dolphins. It's just really incredible. The house that I winded up living in has a 240-gallon tank of sea fish. Not a mistake. It was Atlantis in my home. So there was no question that I needed to do this work. But it is the energy that I'm bringing, okay? And I was asked to bring it here, again, to Staten Island, to create a portal here for you, because this energy needs to be dispersed, okay? So what we're gonna be doing is that I've been offering these online, like I said. This is a frequency, this is a tuning fork, okay? And for many of you, because there's many who I know everyone here, at some point or another have been at my table, right? That's a frequency, right? The healings, right? And this is another frequency, right? And when we talk about the difference of frequencies, this is a very high dimensional frequency, okay? And this is one of the tools by which they've asked me to help disperse this energy, to deliver it. I also brought water from Florida. And I want to talk a little bit about that in case I forget. So what are we talking about here? Is this holy water? Every water is holy. Yes? Water is holy. And by the way, because you're all divine in your natural state of being, I hope you realize that you can bring blessings and place blessings into anything by your realization that you are a divine being. You can bless water, food, people, right? As we should be doing. But yes, this carries a very high frequency, and because the Atlantis energy is there. And so this is a gift, okay? And all you really need to do with this, I will be going around the room doing this, is just do that. And what the real importance is where is your intention? Are you ready to receive that blessing? Are you really open to receive that calibration, right? Are you willing to be a vehicle for the holding of this energy? And if you are, just place it on your third eye, right? You want to place it here, that same little drop, right? It's not really the water, it is, but it's not the amount. It's the frequency that exists in the water and your openness to receive it, yes? I want to tell you, beloveds, that we are in a place of miracles. We are in a place of miracle, in a state of miracles. We will see many miracles occur. And what I mean by that is people will be instantly healed. You know, people will have instant realizations. You know, people will start to awaken. People will start to become who they really are and have multidimensional experiences. We are and will become luminous beings, some in the forefront before others, right? We will see many of the miracles that Christ walked in the land here. You're going to experience it now. You are, you know. And this, we need to become comfortable in this, right? Because this is what the new ascension is. You need to allow yourselves to become awakened and to realize that all of this is part of what the awakening and the ascension is. You becoming a luminous being, yes? And seeing the luminacy in others. And opening yourself to the possibilities of what that is. Allowing yourself to be guided. Doing your healing work. There's still a chance. Remember, your willingness is the greatest protocol. Yes? So, what I'm going to be doing is that I am first going to invite you or walk you through just, I don't want to say a meditation, but into a space where you're going to be open and receptive, right? I'm actually going to speak to your conscious mind, which is the ego, where the fear resides, where the little one, right? And invite it to just enter into a place of surrender so that the subconscious, which is really who you are, it's the totality of that divine energy, so that it can receive. Now, I want to just say a few things about this. You know, we have no expectations. Never when we do any work, we have expectations. However, I am supposed to share that this is a very high vibrational energy that you're going to receive. And so, are you willing and ready to receive it? Yes? Right? And if you've said yes, then be ready to have an awakening. And it can happen this moment while we're doing the actual activation. It can happen a few hours after you leave here. It can happen a week from, you know what I mean? But something is going to occur, okay? If you find yourself having emotions during the activation, and again, I'm only going to spend a few minutes, but this is going to be very condensed, you know what I mean? So while I'm moving through the activations with each of you, it's still very, you know, it's going to actually become very concentrated, okay? So just because I walk away from you doesn't mean that it's done. You know, it's actually, please remember something. And again, I'm not planting anything. I'm not, you know, if you feel any vibration or you feel like there's certain parts of your body that begin to just kind of, you know, vibrate, gyrate a little bit, don't become afraid, okay? Because it is a very powerful energy, and if your body starts to move or you start feeling some movement, it is actually a good thing that there was enough openness in you to receive it, right? It is important that you remain seated and that you stay seated until after I bring you back, okay? And then we'll talk a few minutes about it and see how you're feeling, and you take that energy with you, okay? Any questions? No? Okay, make sure those phones are shut. Take anything that you have and place it on the table. I need you to have both feet on the ground. This is going to immediately bring about a restoration to your energy field. So if you have not been sleeping well, if you have any kind of bodily, physical pain, you're going to immediately realize that there's a change just by experiencing this. Yes? Kenny, I know you're behind the camera. Are you willing to receive a little boost back there? Or no? Oh, you're good. Good. Because you're going to be part of the room, so. Very good. All right. I want you to all close your eyes, and we're going to start with the breath again, right? This time more intentionally. Deeper. Taking an inhale, remembering what that inhale represents, inhalation of life force. And that exhale is your release, your permission, this time to become an open vessel to receive activation. A higher frequency, you're allowing yourself to become more expanded, not only in energy field, but in awareness and in experience and expression of life. You're being calibrated to a new energy that will serve you to become in alignment with the new world, to be able to be a manifester of your highest dreams, of being able to live in fulfillment, and also to be healthier. Illness and disease in the body is nothing more than blockage. And as you become more ascended and in harmony with your divine ascension, your body will change. And your experience in the body will change as well. You will be able to live longer, free of any blockages or stagnation. Allow yourself to settle in. The conscious mind, which is the body, can hear my voice. The subconscious, which is spirit, is preparing itself to receive calibration. Your body is resting. It can hear my voice. The functions of the body are operating, the organs, the cells. You are resting but awakened. Allow yourself to gently allow the body to rest as you can hear my voice. You are safe. The conscious mind is resting, begins to rest as the subconscious mind begins to open to receive a higher level of calibration. And the conscious mind is ready to release and to surrender into the no higher forces, any hidden blockages, any trauma, anything that has been hidden in the lower cells, surrendering it into the higher self, which is spirit, so that a new rebirth and the receiving of new calibrations can occur. Allow yourself to be transported into a higher dimensional state. Dayata waye. Oh. Allowing the new vibrations to become part of your molecules, of the very cells, the energy that you hold. Allowing yourself to ingest and become in frequency the very sound, light language that you are experiencing. Vaya. Use your breath. Inhale the energy. This is the new consciousness, a higher vibration. Exhale. Exhale. Allow the new energies to become your release. Exhale. Allowing yourself to settle into the new calibration. Anchoring the energies, allowing them to become part of you. Exhale. Exhale. Allowing yourself to gently begin to return back to the body, knowing that you are returning to a different calibration. Gently allowing movement to come back to your hands, keeping your eyes closed, and just allowing yourself a moment to experience the new energies. The fluidity, the peace, the harmony, the openness of your heart chakra immediately prevalent. Lighter, feeling freer, more awakened. Exhale with deliciousness. Ah, ah, ah. Coming gently back with no expectations, just a deep knowingness that, again, you were willing to receive and that you are calibrating and anchoring these energies of the new world, of your new frequency, of your new existence, this very moment. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Open your single eye as you open your physical eyes, knowing that you have a new vision. Exhale. And if you're ready, just clap your hands. Allowing yourself to come back, feeling the hands. Just one more time. How is everyone? Good? Allow yourself to anchor and come back. Is everybody feeling okay? Did you feel the energies? Good. Anyone care to share a desire, a burning desire to share what the experience was like?
I opened the sea.
You opened the sea.
And I walked through the sea on dry land.
Mm-hmm.
I parted the sea.
Wow. Beautiful.
And then I was on a whale.
Mm-hmm. On a whale.
On a whale. Next thing I knew, I didn't need the whale.
Mm-hmm.
I was on my own.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Blessings. Beautiful. I saw some other hands. Somebody said, yes. You're still vibrating. Mm-hmm. A mermaid. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Swimming across the ocean. I'm repeating things for those who can't hear and for the camera as well. Beautiful. 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 Anybody still feeling vibration? Yeah, right? Yeah. Anybody else care to share how any emotions rise? No? Beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. We don't compare, we just ask to just share. It's so beautiful to be able to share in the collective because we did create a tribe here, right, by sharing, by the virtue that we experience this. Don't compare though. Remember that each one of us is a unique individual. For you, it could have been emotional. For some of you, you could have had visions. Some of you could have felt it in the body, just felt the movement, right? Maybe some of you felt all of the above. Or maybe some of you felt nothing. Trust me, that no matter what your experience was, you had an experience, right? And now what you need to remember more than anything is that it goes with you. It doesn't stay here, but it goes with you. Yes? And so, and I hope that you're able to assimilate and anchor all that you have received. You know, I hope that the inside, the invitation becomes part of your life, right? And that you allow yourself through that receiving of this energy and the insight, allow yourself to become part of the new paradigm and of the new experience, yes? I can't thank you enough for being here and allowing me to usher this energy to not only you, but to this space in this auspicious day of triumph, of victory in the new land, in the new paradigm. And I hope that you allow, like I said, for you to reap and to leap into the new paradigm yourselves, in each of you. And remember that you are a living example for all those around you and for the world as a whole, right? And so if you want to make a change in the world, then you become the change, right? Don't look outside of you and you be the luminous being. You be the example, right? Take a moment of prayers, of gratitude to all those who held the field, the guards, all the celestial beings, the elementals, all the guards, all the elders who are present here. Great gratitude. May this energy be dispersed into the four corners of the four directions, and to all those who are hungry and seeking, and all those who are not aware at the moment. Thank you